Because checking in with Cleveland, I was told Deshaun looks fresh and healthy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you'd have to look close to what he was. Look, I don't know that he'll ever be. In fact, he won't be.
Kimberly A. Martin just dropped the most viral Watson agenda on live national television, on ESPN NFL Live, in front of millions of viewers. She said Deshaun looks fresh and healthy, kind of like back in his Houston days. Houston days, 2020, when Watson was arguably a top 5 quarterback in the league. And Tim Hasselbeck, sitting at the same desk, immediately said he won't be. He's never going to be what he once was. He's never going to be one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football. Same desk, same segment, same 30 seconds. And then the show cut to Shedeur Sanders' press conference. I'm not a judge. The shutdown happened 3 times in a row. Here's every word. Here is the full Kimberly Martin Watson agenda, and why Houston days is the most inflammatory possible framing for a player who confirmed on camera at mandatory minicamp that he hasn't been 100% since September 2023. Kimberly said on NFL Live, I was told Deshaun looks fresh and healthy, kind of like back in his Houston days. So of course now my interest is piqued because that's easy to say in June. Watson in his Houston days, 2020 season, 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, top 5 quarterback in the league, arguably the best version of Watson that ever existed. Watson in Cleveland days, 2 Achilles tears, a shoulder surgery, 22% career availability rate. Haven't been 100% since the Tennessee game in 23. And Kimberly said Houston days on live national ESPN. Houston days. Kimberly said that about a player who confirmed on camera at mandatory minicamp that he has been operating below full capacity since September 2023. The Houston days Watson was a completely different physical specimen. Pre-2 Achilles tears, pre-shoulder surgery, haven't been 100% since 2023. And Kimberly said it on ESPN NFL Live. That is the viral Watson agenda. And here is Tim Hasselbeck's simultaneous contradiction that makes the clip the most explosive 30-second sequence of the 2026 NFL offseason. Kimberly said Houston days, and Tim immediately said, look, I don't know that he'll ever be. In fact, I don't. He won't be. He's never going to be what he once was. When he was in Houston, there was a period where he was probably one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the game. He's never going to get back to that point where he's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football. I think it's unlikely that is going to happen. He won't be, never going to be, unlikely. 3 separate qualifications in response to Houston days in the same segment, at the same desk. Houston days, Kimberly. He won't be, never gonna be, unlikely, Tim. Same desk, same segment, same ESPN NFL Live broadcast. The Watson agenda and the Watson reality confirmed side by side in 30 seconds. And then Shedeur's clips played on the same screen.
Working really hard to get a feel for what this offense is and, more importantly, what the coaches want. Their new head coach, Todd Monken, first-time head coach, but he is a guy who is very direct and very clear about what he wants. You can hear his voice booming at practice, telling the QBs, telling the players what they want. Guys, I had to write this down because checking in with Cleveland, I was told Deshaun looks fresh and healthy, kind of like back in his Houston days. So, of course, now my interest is piqued because that's easy to say in June. But if he's the guy who can be the quarterback in QB1, you have to see it not just in September, but beyond. But that said, Shedeur has also impressed, and he is getting, the more he works, the more he gets. And so right now, we're still a little ways away from knowing who will be QB1.
I mean, and this is a team that invested $230 million guaranteed
just a little bit, Hannah, yes.
Deshaun Watson.
Just a little bit.
Are we going to get any return on that investment? Tim, what do they need to see from Watson for him to regain that starting spot?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you'd have to look close to what he was. Look, I don't know that he'll ever be. In fact, he won't be. He's never going to be what he once was. Look, when in Houston, there was a period there where he was probably one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the game. He's never going to get back to that point where he's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football. But if he can get back to something similar to what he was, then I think he ends up being the starter there. I mean, that's what I think. So, look, I think it's unlikely. He's had a long time away from the game, playing the hardest position in sports. So it's unlikely that is going to happen. At the same time,
Houston days, shut down in real time by Tim Hasselbeck at the same desk. Now, here's Shedeur's on-screen shutdown that completed the triple. His press conference clips played on national ESPN during the same broadcast that aired Kimberly's Watson agenda. Here is the on-screen Shedeur shutdown that the source panel captured, and why watching his clips play on ESPN NFL Live during the Watson agenda discussion is the most powerful possible visual contradiction. The show featured Shedeur's mandatory minicamp press conference clips, the "I'm not a judge" answer on the competition question, the "I just come show up every day and wait for my number to be called" response about the QB battle. And both clips played on the same national ESPN broadcast where Kimberly had just said Houston days, while Tim was explaining Watson's credibility was compromised. 3 different organizational signals: the Watson agenda, the Tim contradiction, and the Shedeur clips, all in the same broadcast window. The shutdown isn't subtle, it's the sequencing of the national broadcast itself. And here is the Tony Grossi called out by Shedeur detail that confirms the press conference shutdown went viral for reasons beyond the "I'm not a judge" answer itself. Yardbarker confirmed. During Shedeur's mandatory minicamp press conference, a reporter asked him whether he planned to attend the summer workout being organized by Watson. Shedeur said, "I just think that was just a question trying to start something." Tony Grossi, the reporter who asked, went on ESPN Cleveland the next day to address it. He felt I was trying to drive a wedge through the quarterback room. Shedeur identified the Watson agenda in real time at the podium, called it trying to start something. And the next day, Kimberly A. Martin said Houston days on ESPN NFL Live. The Watson agenda didn't stop at the practice field level. It went to national television, and the shutdown followed it there.
I think the way how y'all look at things is different than how we look at things. We look at coming to practice every day, being the best player we can be as an individual and as a good teammate. Y'all look at it as like a competition. It's like that's not really nothing I'm just focused on.
I just come show up every day, so I can't control, coaches. He's the head coach. He's the one calling the plays, and he got to decide who he wants out there on the field. So at the end of the day, I got to just show up each and every day and be ready, and wait for my numbers called.
For this, we have to go to Miss Cleveland, the woman who spends more time there than anyone else in sports media.
I think with these two guys, hey, look, I mean, I truly do think this is up in the air. This is a true competition, unlike maybe some other places that we're going to talk about. I think this is a true competition. And I think, in this case, I don't think Shedeur should, under any circumstances, should be overlooked in this situation. Because I think he is someone that's going to benefit, obviously, from Todd Monken's coaching and the improved roster and the weaponry that's been put around him. And we haven't seen Deshaun in such a long time. I don't care what he does right now.
I don't think Shedeur should under any circumstances be overlooked. Tim Hasselbeck, on the same ESPN NFL Live broadcast where Kimberly said Houston days. 2 different assessments, same desk, same show. Now, here's the Lamar Jackson parallel, confirmed in the same broadcast that gives the Shedeur shutdown its most powerful context. Here is the Lamar Jackson parallel that ESPN NFL Live itself established, and why it makes Shedeur's shutdown of Kimberly's Watson agenda even more powerful. The broadcast opened with Lamar Jackson reporting most OTA participation in his career. Front row at the first team meeting, totally engaged. Lamar understood as a vet he didn't have to be there. He wanted to be there because of the new offense. And then the broadcast cut to Shedeur's press conference clips. "I'm not a judge. Just come show up every day." The show had just confirmed that the league's best player shows up early, sits front row, and engages. And the player competing for a starting job in Cleveland was saying the same thing. Come to practice every day. Be the best player I can be. At the same time, Kimberly was describing Watson as being back to Houston days. Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP, first team meeting, front row, most participation ever. Kimberly's Watson, Houston days, fresh and healthy. Tim's Watson, won't be, never going to be, unlikely. And Shedeur's clips, I'm not a judge, I just come show up every day. The broadcast set up the comparison without intending to, in Shedeur's clips, playing between the Lamar Jackson segment and the Watson Agenda segment is the most accidentally perfect sequencing in recent NFL broadcasting. And here is the Tim Hasselbeck no-shot, credibility compromised verdict delivered separately from the show. Gridiron Heroics confirmed that Tim Hasselbeck separately stated that Watson has no shot at regaining the job and that his credibility has been compromised. Two separate occasions, same analyst, both contradicting the Houston days framing that Kimberly provided on live national television. The Watson Agenda was identified, aired, and immediately contradicted within the same broadcast cycle, and Shedeur's clips played in the middle of the whole thing. Here is the complete live TV shutdown. Kimberly, Houston days, fresh and healthy. Tim at the same desk, won't be, never gonna be, unlikely, credibility compromised. Shedeur clips playing on the same screen. I'm not a judge, I just come show up. Shedeur at the podium calling out Tony Grossi's Watson workout question. That was just trying to start something. The Watson Agenda went to live national ESPN, and the shutdown followed it immediately from three different directions: the Shedeur clips, the Tim contradiction, and the I'm not a judge answer that ESPN chose to play during the segment. That is the shutdown. Here is the complete Watson Agenda picture. Kimberly Martin on ESPN NFL Live. Deshaun looks fresh and healthy, kind of like back in his Houston days. Tim Hasselbeck at the same desk, he won't be. He's never going to be what he once was, never going to be one of the 5 best QBs in football. It's unlikely. Separately confirmed, Watson has no shot, credibility compromised. Shedeur's I'm not a judge and wait for my number to be called clips played on the same national broadcast. Tony Grossi called out by Shedeur for asking about Watson's workout. That was just trying to start something. And Tim's final on-air verdict, I don't think Shedeur should be overlooked. This is a true competition. The Watson Agenda went to live national ESPN. The shutdown followed immediately. Drop a comment. Does Kimberly's Houston days claim and Tim's immediate contradiction confirm that the national media is split on who the real QB1 is in Cleveland? Houston days, said on ESPN NFL Live about a player who confirmed not 100% since 2023, and Tim said he won't be at the same desk, and Shedeur's clips played on the same screen. The shutdown happened live on national television in front of millions. Shedeur Sanders just shut down Kimberly A. Martin's viral Watson Agenda on live national television. Kimberly dropped Deshaun looks fresh and healthy, kind of like back in his Houston days, on ESPN NFL Live. Tim Hasselbeck at the same desk immediately said he won't be. He's never going to be what he once was, never going to be one of the 5 best QBs in football. It's unlikely. Separately confirmed, Watson has no shot, credibility compromised. Shedeur's I'm not a judge and wait for my number to be called clips played on the same national broadcast. Tony Grossi called out by Shedeur for asking about Watson's workout. That was just trying to start something. And Tim's final on-air verdict, I don't think Shedeur should be overlooked. This is a true competition. The Watson Agenda went to live national ESPN. The shutdown followed immediately. Drop a comment. Does Kimberly's Houston days claim and Tim's immediate contradiction confirm that the national media is split on who the real QB1 is in Cleveland?